Hey everyone, Mike here, and welcome back to Junkion Crafts and Builds. If you're a Valaverse collector or just an action figure enthusiast, buckle up because today we're diving into an exclusive first look of the brand new Valaverse exclusive Praetorian Fury. First available at the DFW G.I. Joe and Action Figure Convention in Dallas, Texas. And trust me, you're going to want to see this video. Let's kick things off with the packaging, and in true Valaverse fashion, a lot of these exclusives now are going to come in this cardboard shipper box. This one here comes with the Crimson Shadow Technologies logo stamped on the front. That way you don't know what you're going to get, but enough about the shipper box. Let's look at the inside. Once you get the box outside of that cardboard shipper, you get this really awesomely designed packaging here. We have the Valaverse logo there on the bottom left, ages 14 and up. Praetorian Fury across the bottom, and that really awesome Crimson Shadow Technologies logo there on the bottom right. And then the packaging has this beautiful big window up front, showcasing the figure in all those accessories. On the side here, we have a profile breakdown, similar to what we've seen with other deluxe figures like the Swarm Troopers and such. It's really awesome because you have this one side, and if you get more than one Praetorian Fury, you can present your packaging and your collection showing an entire image of the Praetorian Fury. And here on the back, we got this really awesome promo shot that was shown during the 100th episode of the 3POA podcast. This photo was done by Sean Kennery. Instagram is visual_approach_photo. Link is in the description, and it's really fantastic. And we also have 3 action points down here on the bottom. And then we have the Praetorian Fury bio card, and here's a close-up of that combat profile. You can pause if you wish to read it, but it's really cool. And in true Bobby fashion and his love for variants, we also heard on that 3POA episode that the box itself is going to have a variant, and that's usually going to be in the other part of the shipment, or maybe some people down in DFW did get a copy of it, but it's going to have the other promo shot that shows the miniguns. And I'll put a picture of it somewhere on the screen here for you to look at. But I just think that's really cool. I love the artwork, but we're not here for this. We're here for the figure, so let's get it out of that box. All right, guys, I got the Fury out, and let me tell you, that was a lot of stuff to take out of the packaging. But my first impressions is this is absolutely stunning. It's packed securely, just one strap across the Praetorian's torso, no warping, no gummy accessories. It's typical Valaverse quality. So before we go into all the accessories though, we're gonna go and look at the Praetorian a little bit closer here. It's a lot of what we're familiar with, but it's a really beautiful setup. So let's just get right into it. Design-wise, the Praetorian Fury just continues that standard set by the releases we received from Series 5. It's not just a repaint though, it's really an evolution in the figure. The first time we saw this design was with the Elite Praetorian back in Terrificon 2024. That one I liked a lot. It was kind of like I said, our first look at what we were going to get with Series 5. It was a little finicky because of the translucent plastic. The ones I picked up, a common issue I had was that the translucent plastic and the pin that goes into the shoulder and the bicep, that peg was warped a little bit. The regular standard Praetorian that came with the series. And then we saw the Wraith Praetorian come out earlier this year at Shop of Curiosity and Ishcon. All of them are really cool, but this one here is just awesome because it's just a militarized beast. In this dark green and black, and then these accents here, these neon accents are just freaking awesome. I mean, it really sets things apart with it. With this neon deco accents, I mean, this just screams 90s nostalgia in the best way, I think, because it's classic G.I. Joe meets Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And if I bring my black light on here, dude, I mean, just check how that glows. All right, here we go with a little bit less overhead light and just more action with that black light. And again, just seeing how all those accent pieces just glows under black light. It's wicked, dude. So, I mean, we already talked about the sculpt. We're familiar with it. It's really awesome. It's nice and sharp. The logo, again, it's a subtle change, but it used to be on the right breast. Now it's on the left breast for this version of the figure. Tempo is spotless and perfect on that. All the accents here are really nice. The black and the dark green are painted really, really well. Especially this black on here, which again, it's a little bit easier to do with black than other colors. One thing I noted with my Wraith Praetorians was like the red was a little soft and fuzzy on the edges, but this black here just looks really, really well done. No smudges. I mean, this is premium work right here. So, I mean, I talked about the earlier versions, but I mean, with this one right here, the build quality, again, it's top notch. The weight, just right for the figure. It's distributed well. It's got sturdy joints. I mean, I'm no plasticologist, but this is high-end material. You know, the matte all throughout, and then just a little bit of a satin finish. You know, it's all in the right places. I mean, this is a nice looking figure. I'm not going to go through all the articulation. You guys are very familiar with this figure, but I will say, taking him directly out of the box, I didn't have to heat up anything. All the tolerances are really nicely done. Between the double jointed elbows, the head articulation is what we come to expect. You got that really nice crunch forward and back. You know, it's everything we are used to now with Valaverse. I had to come back and do a quick edit, guys, because there's a feature that's going to be in all these new figures that I really wanted to test out. So I'm going to do it here in real time with you, just to show how easy or how hard it is. And that is that figures moving forward are going to have removable arms. So that's kind of wild in regards to, Mythic guys, don't sue me for this, but it's a pop and swap feature that we're going to get into the Action Force line. Figures are going to be able to like move things around. So anyway, so let's get into it. So it should be right up here at the shoulder joint going into this butterfly joint here. So what I'm going to do is just pull that arm up and let's give it a little tug. And just like that, it comes right out, guys. So, I mean, that's really super easy. Now, I will say, I am wondering what's going to happen over time by pulling this in and out. And what I didn't twist, I just pulled straight out. So when you get your figures, I would recommend doing that as well. I didn't have to heat this guy up at all. It's just this nice little peg socket here. So like I said, pull straight, push straight, don't twist, because I don't want to wear out or, you know, deform that joint going in. But that is super easy. Tolerance remains. That's another thing I'm kind of wondering about in the future. By pulling these arms in and out a lot, is it going to make that joint tolerance loose? So yeah, that's pretty cool. Definitely an easy thing to do. Again, just take care when you're doing it, so that way you're not damaging your shoulder in the long run. Anyway, let's get back to the video and start looking at these accessories. No real big issues, no QC issues. I can sit there and tell you how the articulation goes, but like I said, you already seen it. I mean, you've already seen some of my other videos about Valaverse products. So let's just go ahead and get into the main things with this figure, and that is the crap load of accessories I'm about to show you. So here's a bird's eye view of the Praetorian Fury and all these accessories. And this is where this figure really shines. I mean, the accessory loadout is absolutely wild. We've got everything you can think of here, between backpacks, blast effects, shields, machine guns, and other AR, magazines, sidearm. I mean, you name it, you've got an entire loadout that's just so crazy. And I mean, the cool thing is we got flamethrowers, guys. New flamethrowers. So let's zoom back in and start checking all these accessories out. So here we are back front and center. And with that, we're going to start with the foot stand. We've seen this before, but it's in this nice translucent neon green. with the gray painted over top of it. Looks really sharp. We get our usual plethora of hands. Do I need to go through these, or are you guys already aware? We've got C-grips, we've got item holdings, and we have fists, as well as trigger fingers. Used to it, common, great to have. Another item we're used to seeing with this guy is our sidearm. Again, it's a little small in my opinion. I said that with all the other Praetorians and this one as well. But it's, you know, black plastic with a small accent piece here in neon green right up front underneath the barrel leading out. So, and as common, it is blast effect compatible. All right. And that, of course, is going to go on his side holster. There we go. On the other side, we get our AR. Again, we've seen this before. It is a pain in the butt to get this in his hand. I do recommend pulling off the trigger finger hand and putting it on first and then plugging it back in. But we get our drop down mag. Goes in and out in the bullpup position. Accents here across the back. And as expected, blast effect compatible. And then, like we saw earlier, we get 3 of these really nice bright neon magazines that go in here. Now again, I pulled these out, so that means it's going to be near impossible to keep them in place at times, but I do like having this complete look. I think it looks really rad. Items that we're used to seeing here are the hard energy photonic shields, and it's these really nice bright translucent green, you know, so those plug in really nice here in the body. And of course, we've got the holes for 4 ricochet effects. There we go. So now you get your 4 blast effects or ricochet effects for your shield. So that's the common items we have, and that is a lot to begin with. But now let's focus on the new weapon systems that we get with the Praetorian Fury. Okay, so we're going to look at the Flamethrower set, and let's just start picking pieces and looking at them. This is the new backpack. The plastic feels it's definitely hollow inside, but that's, you know, it keeps it light and helps, I'm assuming, maybe balance out all this other stuff. We'll see how it goes. But it's a nice, decent design. This translucent green paint on the black here really stands out. We got 2 ports at the bottom, and then we have a port here in the back to plug into the figure. But overall, not bad. We get 2 rubber hoses for moving the propellant from the pack into the flamethrower itself. Here is the new design for the flamethrower, and I do like this a lot. Now, this is not the first flamethrower we received from Valaverse. Actually, in the aforementioned Weapons Pack India, we did receive this one. I wasn't too keen on this one, just because, I mean, you got this small propellant going through. I mean, this is basically, I don't know where you would apply this, but that's not the case here with these. These definitely look more in line with what I would consider a combat device for dispensing propellant. And we have, similar to what we just saw with the weapons pack, we have same flame effects. Now, the variant, of course, for the Praetorian is that there's only 100 of these that have a blue translucent paint. This is a very cool design. We have grips as well as the friction peg for the Praetorian's forearm. So let's get him armed up in his flamethrower mode. And here we have the Fury all armed up with his dual flamethrowers, and it looks really, really imposing. I do like this loadout a lot. It is a challenge in some parts, and let me explain that to you. First off, and to minimize any breakage or anything on your figure, I do recommend pulling the hands out, putting them in the grips, lifting that vertical peg up, and then plugging back in, and then pushing it straight up into that peg tab system on the forearm. It's going to save you a lot of headache and a lot of angst and bitterness on your Facebook groups. These are really nice. I tried the look here without using the trigger hands, and it's somewhat difficult. These are basically made that you need to use your trigger hands to do this, just because any other hand is going to bump right into that trigger grip anyway, so you might as well have it look like this. So let's see about balance, right? So hopefully my half-baked table here will not fail me. He is a little front heavy when you have both blast effects in, but you can stand him up like this. So, I mean, that works. Here's the other challenge. Because you have a lot of weight here, moving these arms into a position is going to A, make him very forward heavy, and B, it is a lot of pressure on that tolerance for the shoulders. So, I mean, you can achieve a look like that, all right, where he is flaming away on both sides. But yeah, that is something to consider, especially if you start manipulating these shoulders and pulling the arms out and such. But just doing, you know, a simple forward pose, or for photographers that are kind of flaming, you know, shooting a flame forward like so or down, you can achieve a really menacing pose. I mean, just get him like tweaked out a little bit, get those legs spread apart, and boom, he is there. Really cool setup. I really like it a lot. But there's some other cool stuff you can do with this. So the compatibility across the line definitely works. Again, he fits in really well. The flame effect looks great on him. And I just love the fact that we can possibly use this across the board. Even with that bright neon green, it doesn't take away from the presence of this figure itself. And that is just one of the two weapon systems we get with the Praetorian. So let's go ahead and go into the other set of weapon systems. All right, now let's get into this other awesome weapon system pack, and that is the dual miniguns that come with the Praetorian Fury. And we're going to start looking at the backpack once again. Definitely really nice, cool new design. Again, it's very light, hollow inside, but we have these really nice dark OD green accents along both sides of the pack here. Nice kind of, you know, very utilitarian and highly detailed. We got all these little rivet joints here going in. You got some cables plugging into these bottom drums, as well as some other possible indicators across the top. Just ripe for customizers like Tim Taser and others to kind of like paint this up and make it their own. We got these really cool drums across the bottom. Again, we got this little detail that holds it in place along the sides. There is the back. Again, that nice plug that goes in with a matching grid that we see with the Praetorian. And then we got these two indentations here in the bottom for the belts. So let's look at those now. And these are not anything we're unfamiliar with. These are the same PVC belts that came with the Bone Collector 2.0. And they're just going to go ahead and plug right in. Nice and smooth. All right, so the backpack's ready. But what are we going to connect it to? These two really frippin' awesome designed miniguns. Again, it's a light plastic, which is good in regards to balance. But we've got this really neat detail across here. It's very futuristic looking. It's supposed to be shooting out uranium rounds or something like that. Very high cyclic rate. But we have these really nice, cool neon accents. So we have that. We have the plug going in. Again, no grip this time. So these are going to be specific for the Praetorian series, not just the Fury. We got these triple barrels here that do rotate. All right, we got this little peg here, and that's going to be used here shortly. And then we got the other bottom peg here for the belt to feed the rounds into it. And then we also have more effect pieces. We're used to seeing this from Bone Collector as well as Weapons Pack Gulf with that original minigun. So we have our casings being injected, gravity fed, and then we also have this big ass blast effect that plugs in very carefully into the barrel. So there's what that full loadout's going to look like. Okay, now I got him loaded up with his miniguns, and let me tell you, if there are those that are going to feel like the flamethrowers are going to be a little finicky, this is definitely going to test you in regards to like you get something in, something pops out. You push that back in, something else pops out. It is not impossible and it's not going to be a detriment, but it is one of those things like you get it in place and then you're good unless you want to move things around again, then you take your time to do it. That being said, this looks so freaking badass. This is like Terminator Joe. This definitely works out to be like your armored beat stick when you're going up against the Republic or Action Force or the Garrison for that matter. But let's talk about it real quick. All right. So I have two different hands on because again, without the grips, you don't need to worry about that. So I left the trigger finger on and I put the fist on. The miniguns are definitely keyed right and left, and you can tell that because of the effect piece of the discharge going through here. This is not impossible, and again, it's holding it, well enough here. It's not flopping out, but getting that lined up, especially if you have these other things in place first, is going to get you, and it can definitely get a lot of posability through this. Utilizing, see what I'm saying? It is a finicky thing when you start manipulating it around, all right? So just keep that in mind. And again, this minigun barrel can, move around if you want to like manipulate that blast effect. If you don't like this blast effect, then that's cool because you have plenty of other blast effects that you can utilize, all right? Because that cross compatibility is in place. So if you want a smaller burst going through, you can definitely do that. There is another little neat thing about these miniguns. So let me show you that. All right, so we pulled off one of the minigun, but here's another cool thing. There is some cross compatibility and some customization for this minigun. And that's because we already have an existing minigun that has more barrels, more blast effect options. Yay! So here's the cool part. Both these barrel attachments can separate from the main body. And that is as simple as grabbing it and gently pulling out. He says, gently pulling out. Again, this is real-time fun stuff, guys. So there we go. All right. So we saw that in real time, right? It's a little difficult, but not horrible. You can see that mushroom peg right there, and then the port for that. And now we're going to take off this barrel. Let's see if we're going to have the same difficulty. Nope. There you go. So seems compatible, right? Should be. Let's just plug it back in, give it a gentle push, and boom. Now you have a new minigun there for your Praetorian Fury. And we can put this other one in here. If you want a little futuristic triple barrel action. And there it is with that multi-barrel minigun customization. And I'm really hard pressed to know which one I like more. Again, it's really cool that we can get this customized look. And, that's the loadouts that we get. I mean, there's a ton of options. There's a ton of accessories. There's tons of playability with this guy. But let's see how well he plays with others. Let's do some comparisons. And for the first part of our comparisons and display potential, here we have the Fury with the other Praetorian androids we've received from Valaverse so far. Again, the Elite Praetorian from the Terrificon 2024 is our first release. The Core Praetorian out of Series 5. And the new Wraith Praetorian. I know some people already were saying it kind of screams a little bit like a Halo Spartan 117. I don't know. I can definitely see that. And then just to add in a little bit more, here is the complete complement of Crimson Shadow we've received up to this point with the really cool Crimson Shadow Infantry. But let's see what else this Praetorian kind of goes along with. It definitely seemed appropriate to have the 2025 DFW Exclusive right next to last year's DFW Exclusive in regards to the 100th item from Valaverse, which was the Bone Collector 2.0. And I would be remiss not to point out some earlier awesome exclusive that we had from Valaverse in regards to the B.A.Ts exclusive of the Night Ops Steel Brigade. The dark green of the Fury is a little darker than the standard OD green of the Night Ops. And while we had this cool kind of bright green here for the visor, it's not as neon as the the Praetorian Furies. And here he is with a couple other action figure lines that we have. Of course, the G.I. Joe Classified Series Footloose and the Joe Fest exclusive from Big Bad Workshop, Fresh Monkey Fiction. This is the Operation Monster Force Lieutenant Griffin in his electronic detection, whatever, the gray translucent one. And for another comparison with our specific element here with Flamethrowers, I wanted to bring in another line and their representation of how their Flamethrowers look. You know, it's a little flaccid, a little small. The flame effects don't look that great. And then we have our newest edition here. You know, I don't know about you, but I think the design and presence of the Valaverse figure kind of takes away from these other ones here. Not saying they're bad. They each have their own niche and nostalgia for it. But yeah, I'm kind of digging the new stuff. And I would be remiss not to say that this is a battle android for the Crimson Shadow technologies as a deterrent and offensive weapon, similar to another storyline and toy line for their android troopers. No shade on any brand overall. It's cool that we get army builders that have this level of variety and possible customizing across the line. So, final thoughts on the DFW 2025 exclusive from Valaverse, the Praetorian Fury. I mean, I don't think I need to sell this to you guys. I think it pretty much speaks for itself. And putting it in this kind of environment here with an awesome diorama piece from Duarte Studios, as well as some other blast effects from my friend Art G. It really is just a cool figure to have. It's a good triumph. It's a smart reuse, load of accessories based off a killer design from Series 5. It's everything we love about Valaverse and the Crimson Shadow in one package. And one thing I want to point out is price and value. Now, all these accessories, this figure in and of itself, at DFW was $39.99. $40 for everything. Consider what that means for you. $40, you get the design, all this customization that you can do, the quality of Valaverse that we all expect. I mean, literally, it's a steal. Overall, this is a winner in my books. It's everything I love about Valaverse. Crimson Shadow is quickly becoming one of my favorite factions within the line. Really, 2025 is becoming the year of Crimson Shadow. The Valaverse panel is going to be chock full of stuff that we're going to see in the remainder of this year and going into 26 and beyond. So, I mean, it's a great time to be an action figure fan. So that's it, everyone. I hope you liked this review, and if you did, smash the button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell, and you'll never miss an update from me, Mike, from Junkion Crafts and Builds. Thanks a lot, everyone. We'll talk again soon. Bye.